All right, good morning. I'm going to, hopefully I'm going to actually do a video that's worth putting out. So this is my little Hoffman. I want to say it's a half. It could be a 3/4. I doubt it. I think it's a half. Yeah, it's a half. it's so rare when they actually put in on the label that it's a half. Now, I bought these thinking that I would get in a few more sales before orchestra started this school year. And this is like a lot, elementary school level. And my supplier, did not get them out until about 2 weeks after orchestra started. And I'm just sitting here going, like, come on, what are you doing? Oh, well, we have up to a week to fill the order. Okay. And then like a week after that, they finally came in the mail. And I'm just like, oh. So, and then, of course, me being the person that I am, I wanted to get rid of the pencil marks, which is why this little Hoffman is a little more famous out of my collection as far as this channel is concerned, because of the fact that I already have videos of me talking about why on earth someone would ever do this. And there's people who are like, oh, no, they probably... And then, you know what? I'm not going to get into it. But I have not been using the right tools for this project at all. I'm using like really fine sandpaper, and that's great, except for one thing. The sandpaper seems to be like, if I am changing the color at all, it's not very much, because I'm re-scraping off the layer I just put on. So, with that being said, I'm going to botch the other videos that I put on, and I'm going to put this video on. So I started doing this 2 camera project a couple of videos ago, and I never made a video on them because it just didn't seem like I was doing the process correct. So with that being said, this is the Hoffman half. It is a concert series. It is a KPO 38-043. It is a size 12. I have no idea what's going on with this. So what we're going to do is we're going to take out some steel wool. Now, even in wood shop, I knew to do this with steel wool. But I'm like, where am I going to get steel wool? Where am I going to source it? I've probably been to Home Depot like 15 times since I started working with violins this year. But I've never like stopped to look at steel wool. And what steel wool does is it doesn't really scrape it off as much as just kind of prepare it. So I'm just going over the few places now that I've done some work, and it's just smoothing it down. And what's lovely about this, well, I mean, what's not lovely is that you end up with like little wood shavings everywhere, or metal shavings. But what is lovely now is that the color is staying. So now what I'm going to do, am I zoomed in at all? No, I'm not zoomed in at all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my clear coat, and this is another problem I've been making, is that I'm just putting in the color and I'm not adding the shellac. This is my filler shellac. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this brush just a little paintbrush that I need to get more of. I'm just going to make a little circle here in the middle of this big stained piece of wood. And then I'm going to put this on because it is made with denatured alcohol, which means it evaporates quickly. Now I'm going to take my my brush that I use most of all. I'm going to add some brown. I could add a little bit of red. I have noticed I get a nice brownish color when I add some red, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for adding the appropriate colors. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add some orange. And I'm going to go ahead and mix them up. And I do that just like a little palette. You know. All right. Now, I would have thought that this would have done better, but it still evaporates faster. I thought it was absorbing into the wood, and it might be, but I mean, after a certain amount of layers of shellac, this wood should not be this permeable. So what I'm going to do here, now that I've made my stuff, is I'm going to move that over. And I'm going to just do small layers to get my color back. Now, if I just add the color, what was happening is the denatured alcohol in the color would get rid of all of the previous varnish, which is not great. Get some of this darker varnish here in this darker area. This obviously is a little bit red, but it's mostly brown, so I might need to have a completely different color here. Now, before we go anywhere else, let's go ahead and make sure that we get this big area for some color. Now what we're adding is, we're essentially adding a colored layer of shellac. Which again is evaporating over here pretty quick. And every layer of this that I keep putting in the darker these little marks will end up becoming, to the point where they will be a lot more tolerable. Now, if this was a very expensive violin, I'd probably be using very precise brushes, but this is a student violin. And it still matters to someone, it just... I'm sure. And I basically make enough for one layer. And what's going to happen now is that this is going to dry. And I'm going to rub it again with some steel wool, and then I will continue the process until it is completed. Now, I'm doing this because I've already done a few layers, and I can try to find some footage of when I first started so you can see just how bad the damage really was, because I was doing stuff, but then I was testing this method with much better results. And if you listen, there's going to be a video on me setting that sound post again coming up. Anyway, I'll have to make a video of what that will look like. I don't know why I did that. Why would I put that up there? It's obviously, like, right here, it's going to be a lot more appealing. Yeah. I look forward to doing this more often, working on this violin and getting it to a point where this is a little bit more comely looking. I don't mind this area here being lightened, or this area, because these are places where they really more touch your body. So, I mean, you have the effect of it looking more like someone's body heat has changed the varnish, which is always an appealing thing. So I just want to get it darker and a little bit less rigid right here. But in time, I'm hoping to sell this violin and get it out of my workshop. And this is not even the craziest one. I have one where I have to rebuild the neck. I have several that I have to work on. I have my Verona, which is a 3/4. Now I'm just going to hold it up here so you can get the real effect up here, but then under here you can see the light. You can see I've gone down to the wood on this one. And believe it or not, at one point the Hoffman was also down to the wood in certain places. I've gone down to the wood on this because if you see here, there's a lot of deposited varnish, because again, I was playing around with the spirits and not doing it right. And then what was even worse is I let one of my children, who he was just having a bad day, he was kind of having a tired thing, and I was like, why don't you come downstairs and work on a violin with me? And then he worked on this one and messed it up. Honestly, I'm going to say this. I messed it up way worse than he did, but he added to that, trying to thin it out. And I'm just like, no, we're going to sand it down to the wood. So you're going to see me restore this violin as well in videos coming up. All of this old orange and red and everything varnish, this is all old varnish that was deposited and moved. And I still have to find out how to clean up this varnish itself, because this is smooth. I am concerned about going any further down. In order to get that same color. So this might end up being a budget violin, which is fine. As long as it's protected and clean and everything else, I'm fine. It gave its life essentially for me to learn. But I actually ended up going without, instead of doing like an oil or denatured alcohol or anything else, I just did sandpaper and water. And it has really come out, but now it needs to be restored. So I look forward to those videos with you, and all right, I'll see you in the next one.